Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
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 Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda.
Gopala Govinda Rama, Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Hari Bol Krishna, Hari Bol Krishna. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestayate.
So in our study program, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Instructor, the spiritual master, Govinda, instructs us to find a bona fide spiritual master surrender unto Him, inquire submissively, and render loving service. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge to us because he has seen the truth. So Lord Krishna is telling us how we can be close in harmony with His will, with His desire. And now I read to you all here and all of us about Lord Krishna revealing Himself to Arjuna. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was put into a situation of an ordinary person who is confused, who cannot make correct decision, who has so many questions that he cannot address, and it disturbs him. And when he saw his predicament, being a close friend and associate of Lord Krishna, Arjuna put himself in a position to be the disciple of Lord Krishna. So the teachings we hear here is coming from our instructing spiritual master, Lord Krishna, and our initiating spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. So to understand more about the Supreme Person, it is best and understood clearly and absolutely from someone who knows Him, who loves Him, who sees Him, who is in a transcendental, loving relationship with Him, who is situated in His natural position and function as eternally the loving servant of God. And the perfect example is Arjuna. So after hearing the science of our identity and also understanding who we are, our position, our function, now it will be up to us if we want to succeed in having a transcendental relationship with the Supreme Person, then we can apply the philosophy, the teaching that is eternal and transcendental and absolute. It's connected with our life, our happiness. So now I'll read to you here Krishna's universal form. Arjuna, after hearing from Lord Krishna, now completely understand his situation, his position, his function, what he will do with his life. So all of us here sitting down now, and those who are listening, it is described by Rupa Goswami that we are all seekers of pleasure. But the problem is that we're looking in the wrong direction. And that direction is based upon our contaminated senses. So the process we follow is God Himself embracing us, purifying us, the Supreme Purifier, through hearing His glories, remembering Him. So all of us here, the reason we're here because of what we are focusing. What is our meditation, our heart's intent, our heart's desire. So you can see in ourselves, what separates us, what makes us close with God, and we should address it if we want to succeed in this path of our eternal world that should be in harmony with the pleasure and the desire of the Supreme Person. to be in love, in loving service. So that is the purpose of this educational process, because where your heart is, that's where your mind will go. So whatever state of mind you remember at the time of death, that state you will attain. So while we're in this world, in this planet of death, we can be connected with the transcendental world that will give us pleasure of the heart, because that is a world of pure devotional service in loving reciprocation with the Supreme Person, as exemplified by Lord Chaitanya and his associate who came here 500 years ago, in loving remembrance, in loving separation with the Supreme Person. The intensity of their meditation, their focus, their heart, their life, we can study that and see how we fall far short. If we want to enter their world, we can check how we fall far short. But in this endeavor, if we make a sincere decision to follow this path and give our life, surrender our life, in loving reciprocation with the Supreme Person under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, then Krishna will be the one to take care of our love, our surrender. He will embrace us. So I'll read here Arjuna's personal experience, his realization, and the description I'll read here in Bhagavad Gita. So we can now understand where we can repose or direct our life. All of us, we are always attracted to someone who is very beautiful, to someone who is very powerful, to someone who is very kind, compassionate, who is friendly. And that person is Lord Krishna. But because of ignorance and selfish desire in our heart to do our own will, to seek happiness where there's none, we're focusing that love and effort in this material world. And although we know already that it has an end, and we never succeed in our endeavor to find fulfillment, because the experience we experience every day is our life and world of fear. Everybody's fearful. Arjuna said, I have heard your instruction on the confidential spiritual matters which you have so kindly delivered unto me, and my illusion is now dispelled. So Arjuna is talking to Lord Krishna. O lotus-eyed, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity as realized through your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, I yet wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. Although Lord Krishna is in front of him, he's asking in pleading, in humbleness, to Lord Krishna to show him how he came to this world. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me the universal self. To recap, we have heard the pastimes of Mother Yasoda when he asked baby Krishna to open his mouth because he's eating mud, as what his friends reported to Mother Yasoda, and Mother Yasoda became worried that Lord Krishna is eating mud, and he asked him to open his mouth. When he opened his mouth, he was able to see the whole cosmic manifestation, all of this. And she's awed and amazed. So this is what is being described now to Arjuna in the universal form. The blessed Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, behold now my opulence, hundreds of thousands of bodied divine forms, multicolored like the sea." Have you seen the sea when there's sun? Because of the waves, you see, if you look at it from afar, you think it's blue, dark blue. But if you come near, you hold that water, you can take off a palm in your palm. It's clear white. It's colorless. Now when I say white, colorless. But from the reflection of the sun and the movement and the heat, it's like there's so many colors, buried colors. O best of the Bharatas, see here the different manifestation of Adityas, Rudras, and all the demigods. Behold the many things which no one has ever seen or heard before. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you now desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Everything here is complete. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you the divine eyes, but which you can behold my mystic opulence. So here we can understand clearly, because God is a person, this knowledge we follow is a descending process. To know Him, we must know more about Him and follow His desires so He can reveal Himself to us. So to be able to understand the science, we must receive it from someone who knows it. The Supreme Person can be revealed through His confidential loving servant, His friends, His eternal servants, the spiritual master. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you the divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence. Sanjaya said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power of the personality of Godhead displayed His universal form to Arjuna. During the battle of Kurukshetra, Dhritarashtra, the father of Duryodhana, he's blind by birth. He cannot see. So he stayed in his castle or in his place, but there's this great mystic, Sanjaya, who can see the battlefield. You see, there's another technology that's more powerful than the satellite. So while Sanjaya is seeing what's happening in the battlefield, seeing Lord Krishna and Arjuna, everything in detail, he's relating it now to Dhritarashtra, who's sitting in his castle, who is blind. So this narration is being described, received by Arjuna, and now Sanjaya is also revealing to Dhritarashtra, who is blind by birth, what is happening. It's like there's a television that he can see. What do you call, like Skype. But this technology is different. There's no Mbps. It's very clear, very direct. It's transcendental. Sanjaya said, O king, speaking thus, the Supreme, the Lord of all mystic power, the person of Godhead, displayed the universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes. It was all wondrous. The form was decorated with divine dazzling ornaments, arrayed in many garbs. He was garlanded gloriously, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. This was seen by Arjuna. If hundreds and thousands of sun rose up at once in the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. You see? It might thou resemble. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansion of the universe, situated in one place, although divided in many, many thousands. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna began to pray with folded hands, offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. Your form adorned with various crowns, clubs, and these is difficult to see because its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best of all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion and the eternal personality of Godhead." So here, we can see the description of the Supreme Person in His universal form. Although you are one, you are spread, you are the origin without beginning, middle, and end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your unlimited eyes. By your radiance, you are heating this entire universe. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky, and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid, and with folded hands, they are singing the Vedic hymns. The different manifestation of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, and the Sajas, and Visvadevas, the two Asbin and Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yaksas, Asuras, and all perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. Almighty Arm One, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, your terrible teeth, and as they are disturbed, so am I. O pervading Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium. Seeing your radiant colors fill the skies, and beholding your eyes and mouths, I am afraid. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the world, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth in all directions. I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings and Bhisma, Drona and Karna, and all our soldiers are rushing into your mouths, their heads smashed by your eternal fearful teeth. I see that some are being crushed between your teeth as well. As river flows into the sea, so all the great warriors enter your blazing mouth and perish. I see all the people rushing with full speed into your mouth as moth dash in the blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people in your flaming mouth and covering the universe with your immeasurable rays. Scorching the worlds, you are manifest. O Lord of Lords, so fierce of form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. I do not know what your mission is, and I desire to hear of it. The blessed Lord said, Time, I am the destroyer of the worlds. I have come to engage all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So Lord Krishna appeared to establish religion. So to unburden this planet Earth during that time from those evil individuals who are posing as kings, running the country, and making it very hard for saintly person, Brahmins, and the citizens to live peacefully. So it's already decided. All the opposing warriors at the other side in front of Arjuna will perish. This is being described also by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra, who is blind. While Arjuna is seeing the universal form, Sanjaya also is seeing it and describing it to Dhritarashtra. Therefore, get up and prepare to fight. After conquering your enemies, you will enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasasin, can be but an instrument in the fight. The blessed Lord said, all the great warriors, Drona, Bhisma, Jayadratha, Karna are already destroyed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies. So it's already decided. So we can see here when our Gurudev tells us, we will be eternally servants of Lord Krishna. Either amiably, we will be in harmony, transcendentally, in pure transcendental joy and happiness, experiencing God's pleasure upon us, or we will be still serving Lord Krishna if we make a choice to do our own will, because we will be subjugated by material nature, serving material nature in illusion, thinking we are the master because we will be the servant of our senses. In that state, it's a world of death, unhappiness, and loneliness, and full of fear. So now we can see, on one hand, we can see how we can be protected. Like Arjuna, who puts himself simply doing the will of the Supreme Person, because it's already decided. And here, on the other hand, we can see if we make a decision to serve, to do our own will, still we will be servants. So it's already decided. The living entity, us, we are eternally joyful, we're seekers of happiness, and we'll be eternally rendering service. The question is, will it be in harmony with the pleasure of the Supreme Person? So Arjuna here puts himself in that situation, was put in that situation, decided to do the will of the Supreme Person for the pleasure of the Supreme Person. So he gives us his life's example. That is the teaching of our spiritual master. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna trembled, fearfully offered obeisances with folded hands, and began faltering to speak as follows. O Hrishikesha, Hrishikesh, another name of Lord Krishna, the master of the senses. The world becomes O Hrishikesh, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O Great One, who stands above even Brahma, you are the original master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you? O Limitless One, O Refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. So we have heard the pastimes of Lord Krishna in dealing with Lord Brahma, who thinks that who being the creator, very powerful, he is not even knowing and understanding the glories of the Supreme Person. That's why when he went to visit Lord Krishna, and the doorkeeper told him to wait first, because he will ask Lord Krishna first if he will be allowed. And Lord Krishna asked, Brahma from where? And then the servant asked, Lord Brahma from where? Who Brahma? And he said, the four-headed Brahma, the creator of this universe. Because his world is thinking this universe. But when he approached Lord Krishna and bowed down to Lord Krishna, his doubts in his mind, he asked Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, the doorkeeper asked me, Brahma from where? Who Brahma? Are there any Brahmas other than me? And Lord Krishna summoned all the Brahmas. They came, just summoned on the spot where Lord Brahma is standing. And all the Brahmas, the creator of different universe, who have so much greater responsibility than Lord Brahma. So when all the Brahmas came, Lord Brahma was so amazed seeing different Brahmas with innumerable heads, millions of heads. And he, Brahma, the creator of this universe, has only 4 heads. And he got dwarfed, so teeny-weeny in the face, in the assembly of all the Brahmas that Lord Krishna called. So he is humbled. O Great One, who stands above even Brahma, you are the original Master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you? O Limitless One, O Refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead. You are the only sanctuary of the manifested cosmic world. You know everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are above the material modes or limitless form. This whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are fire, water, and you are the moon. You are the supreme controller and the grandfather. Thus I offer my respectful obeisance unto you 1,000 times again and yet again. Obeisances from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are the all-pervading, and thus you are everything. I have in the past addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, without knowing your glories. Please forgive me whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times while relaxing or while lying on the same bed or eating together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. Please excuse me for all my offenses. Because Arjuna is so blessed to be with Lord Krishna in his two-handed form. And during the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Dwarpa Yuga 5,000 years ago, when Vrindavan came here, all the residents of Vrindavan came here and enjoyed the pastimes, the transcendental pastime of Lord Krishna. It is actually God's transcendental manifestation of His love for us, inviting us to enter that world that is eternal and not this dead world. So we must become purified from all this misgiving, our imperfect senses of trying to reach God. What should we do is the purificatory process that purifies us, uncovers our true transcendental love that can be surrendered and offered in loving reciprocation with the Supreme Person, pure love of God. And then, when we understand that, we can now see how we fall far short, and the more we're getting closer to be in harmony, to do the will, the desire of the Supreme Person, we make effort that because of our contamination from this material world, we engage in so many austerities and activities to be able to please the Supreme Person. But in the face of adversity, that austerity or sacrifice, we carry on. And the more we get closer, the more we render loving service, the more we desire, the more we beget, the more our whole life becomes focused, our life, our heart. So the beginning is the chanting of the holy names. Krishna's gift, Krishna's love comes to us, God Himself embracing us. The more we chant, the more we like to chant. And the more we make progress, the holy names becomes our life. Because the holy names of the Supreme Person is the whole spiritual world. It cannot be gauged by your mind, by my mind, but God can reveal Himself to us through the descending process. He can reveal Himself to us through the Paramatma, the Lord within the heart. So in the beginning of our contact with the Paramatma from the outside, the instructing spiritual master, our initiating spiritual master, assists us so we can hear the Lord within the heart. That when we hear the Lord within the heart, we can now make distinction if it's the mind, the false ego, the desire, or it's really God guiding us. But when we become purified from material consciousness, from material disease of trying to play Lord, of this selfishness, material contamination, false ego, trying to dominate material nature, then we can now take shelter and give our life, our heart, our love to the Supreme Person. And that becomes our life. Then we can check that. It's like the more we surrender, the more we give our time, everything to the Supreme Person, the more we become attached to Him. That's why our Guru Dev tells us a certain activity leads to a certain consciousness, and a certain consciousness leads to a certain activity. So activities we did before in ignorance have covered us and subjugated us. We became controlled by the three modes of material nature. But transcendental activities related with this process that will purify us, that will connect us with God's desire, that He wants us to surrender in loving devotion. He assists us because He purifies our misgivings, our contamination. He purifies us to be resituated in our eternal, true transcendental nature as eternally the loving servant of God. So here we can see how Krishna, the Supreme Person, manifested His universal form to Arjuna. And Arjuna, understanding, hearing the confidential knowledge about His true nature, about His transcendental, eternal activity and position as eternally the loving servant of the Supreme Person, begins to see his situation. And in humbleness, he offers respect to the Supreme Person. He's thankful. So all of us here, we should appreciate that while traveling in this universe, in this body, when God comes to us, which is non-different from His love. Love means affection, compassion. We talk about love. People, they talk about love. But perverted love is based upon bodily identification. It's based upon getting something, consuming through the senses, thinking that it will give me happiness. What is happening is that lust, which is really love has been covered, transformed into lust. That's why the person becomes so much uptight and anger when frustrated, when he is in bodily identification, because that love is not addressed, that love is not satiated and taken care of. It becomes, you want to experience joy and happiness, which is inseparable from love, inseparable from you, all of us. By nature, we're joyful. But when we're in bodily identification, and that love is directed upon this material world under the influence of lust, under material disease, because we are so engrossed, thinking we are the body, we are matter. It's not satisfied. We are so angry in our heart. And that anger is experienced through the senses. Anger doesn't mean you just curse. Anger means your lust. When lust is love, when lust has covered this love, contaminated, when we try to find joy in the material world, that satisfaction is not addressed because we're looking and searching in the wrong direction. And even in relating to someone, we're relating to the person, but now we're in illusion. That relationship is deflected upon the body. You're thinking, my child, my wife, the body. And you see what happens when that person whom you love, your shelter, your foundation for love, in loving reciprocation, that person leaves. What happens? You're now in quandary, you're confused, because the person leaves, you're so attached to the body. Not only that, when we engage we're under the influence of lust, we're always angry. It's like when a person is put in a straitjacket, his relief is to get out of that jacket. So when we are searching for happiness in the wrong direction, we are so frustrated and angry, unfulfilled, and we try to express it through the senses. We look and that search for happiness, that material desire in our mind with the promise of happiness, that love is directed in that direction, because love is joy and happiness, but it's now being directed in the wrong direction. So we're always angry. We're always frustrated. And we lose our intelligence. Life trying to find happiness in matter. Life trying to take shelter in something that is temporary. We must understand that we are just transient, temporary in this body. The living entity, us, who is inside this body, in this machine, we must understand that it's a futile attempt. It's useless to really find eternal fulfillment and happiness in the material world. But with Krishna's love for us, He gives us instruction how we can use this material energy which belongs to Him and offer it back to Him. That's what we do here every day, the 9th process of devotional service. You wake up in the morning, you come here. In the beginning, you're just there as a compliance because that's a program of Madana Mohana Academy. But after a while, it dawned upon you, I can offer this body, my life, to God. So you become enthusiastic through the purificatory process of the holy names. The effect is that if you can check how you wake up, there is a reason to wake up. There is a reason to take care of this body, to be able to glorify God. It means you're progressing in the right direction. So the first step in the right direction is understanding this transcendental science. Or else, you'll just be like the clouds driven by the wind. Where the wind blows, you'll just go there. until it dissipates. You put your investment in this world, your time. We cannot appreciate that time is God. This body belongs to Him. We're instructed by the instructing spiritual master. Everything in the Upanishad, everything animate or inanimate, living or non-living, belongs to God. One should only take the quota that is allotted to him, knowing well to whom they belong. But when a person is contaminated with lust under the influence of material nature, the mode of passion, he cannot offer what belongs to God back in loving relationship, because his outlook is an outlook of consumption. He becomes a matter addict. The senses becomes like a vacuum cleaner. Vacuum cleaner suck in the eyes, all the senses, the 9 senses. We try to suck and try to fulfill what cannot be fulfilled, because the focus is for fulfillment is matter, and we are not matter. And that can be seen. You have seen individuals who are successful, they're famous, they're wealthy, they have association with so many people, just enjoying the nightlife. But look at the effect of their activities. Where did it lead them? The greatest singer who's so famous died of alcoholism and drugs. The moonwalker died of drugs. The famous person, when he danced, everybody likes to emulate him. He's so famous. But look internally, his life. Is he satisfied? The singer, Elvis Presley, who sings songs of love, he sits down. He can eat, have everything material he wants. But look at his life. He's into drugs. And he asks this question. He's thinking, talking to his shadow, sitting down, trying to, in a meditative mood, so lonely and unhappy, and asking himself, talking to himself, is there more to life than this? So, we must understand the first step in the right direction is understanding this science of our true eternal loving relationship with the Supreme Person begins with understanding our true transcendental nature and our transcendental position and our true function, eternally the loving servant of God. Because we are all seeking for joy. And not only that, in Scripture, the teachings of Lord Jesus Christ, love God above else. Love Him with all your heart, with all your mind. And love your neighbor as you love thyself. So if you want to help others, your child, your wife, your brothers, your sister, if you have Krsna, you follow His teaching in harmony, in loving surrender, then it will be natural to be loving His children, playing that role temporarily as your child, instead of trying to love that child as God, because of the false ego, thinking, my child, and you try to play Krsna, just surrender unto me and I'll give you everything. And the child also wants to be the number one. Serve me, learn me. And if he cannot get it, he gets angry. He manipulates you. You're thinking, I'm the controller, but the child manipulates you also. We must become free from this illusion of false bodily identification. And Krsna Himself, the Supreme Purifier, will be the one to purify us. So let's read more about the glories of the Supreme Person tomorrow. So now, let's chant the glories of the Supreme Person, the holy names, who is the cause of all causes, who is the Lord of love, who is self-sufficient, and we can direct our life in His loving service, just like Arjuna did. So if we want to live a godly life, we want to taste what we're longing for, let's follow this process. So it's up to you, and Krishna, our Gurudev, is giving us this knowledge. He wants us, He cares for us. He wants us to be protected by God. He wants us to be protected by this loving surrender and relationship that is eternally ongoing with the Lord of Love, Krishna. In material conditioning, you see God's teaching, you see the spiritual master as your enemy. You don't want to hear it because we have become servant of the mind. The mind is directing us. The three modes of material nature influence us. Goodness, passion, and ignorance. It's all about us. So if we love ourselves, we can never be happy. Because we're not God. We're not self-sufficient. We must open our eyes. We must be in harmony with time. And this time is God's love. Take this time to chant His glories. Take this time and opportunity that we are so gifted and loved and blessed that we have come in contact with the supreme lovable person, Krishna, Govinda. And He's revealing Himself to us. Haribol Namaste. Let's chant. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Gora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prestayate.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya,
Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayanya.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Jaya Guru Dev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gauranga,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Guru Dev,
Krishna,
Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gauranga.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev.
Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya
Namo Siddhaswarupananda